He's a Republican. Clearly, he wasn't a Republican. He hates Trump.
He absolutely was a Republican.
Well, he agrees with them then.
No, he does.
He does agree with them. He hates Trump just like the left does.
Liz Cheney, I don't know why he tried to shoot Donald Trump. Well, we don't know, but we know he's a Republican.
The other guy tried to kill him at Mar-a-Lago.
The other guy, he was also a Republican.
No, he wasn't a Republican.
Yeah, dude, this is all online. You can literally like fact check it.
Well, y'all just be making up anything.
Okay. Wait.
This is a very, very complex situation.
This one?
Yeah.
Did Donald Trump attempt an insurrection on January 6th? No.
No.
What were they there to protest on January 6th?
Well, I think they were there to protest an election. I think
Donald Trump. What about the election? Were they there to protest?
Yeah, the election was stolen.
They thought the election was stolen.
They thought it was stolen. So did I. Okay. And I still think they
still think it was stolen?
I still think it's stolen.
Regardless of the claim of whether or not it was stolen, what were they there to do?
Protest.
No. What were they there to do? Why did they go to the Capitol? Why were they there on January?
Let's put it in perspective. There was hundreds of thousands of people there. Let me put it in perspective. There was hundreds of thousands of people there. Many went to protest. A few entered the Capitol building.
2,000.
And assaulted police officers.
Yeah.
No. The ones who assaulted police officers, a very small number. That entered, they estimate that it was about 2,000.
2,000 people went to the Capitol. Why were they there? What was happening on January 6th that they were there
to vote?
So if you guys don't know, this video is about the J6 event that happened in the United States. The student believes that it was an insurrection, and Officer Tatum, the conservative pundit with the Republican MAGA hat, he believes that it was not an insurrection. And he also believes, as he just said, that the election was stolen. Let me know what you guys believe about this event. I'll be honest, I don't know too much about the J6 insurrection. When that happened, I was like in high school. I was literally in high school. I was not thinking about this. I don't even think I was legal to vote yet. However, it was an extremely big event. It led to Donald Trump, I think, being impeached, actually. It led to a lot of turmoil in the White House. Nonetheless, let's get into this video. Let's see who presents the better argument, and let's go.
To certify the election.
Certify the vote. What were they there to protest against?
The certification of the election.
So what did they do on January 6th when they went to the Capitol? What happened with the certification of the vote?
They voted.
No, it was delayed.
Oh, delayed. Okay. They still voted.
So they went in. They broke in to a public building using violence to disrupt a governmental process. That's an insurrection.
Well, they are guilty of that. What does that have to do with Trump?
Yeah, Trump sent them there.
How did he send them there? How did he send them there?
He told them that if you gotta fight like hell, you're not gonna have a country anymore.
Donald Trump, the first thing he tweeted is on record. He said, peacefully and patriotically, let your voice be heard. Don't be violent. He said that before they ever went. Then when they went, he told them to go home and to leave the Capitol building after it had happened.
That's all great. He told.
Fine.
No, that's all great. But that's all great. But 3 hours while the Jan 6 was happening, while Ashley Babbitt got shot in the throat, he was in the White House with his lawyers calling Republican officials during the riot while people were still in, saying, hey, you shouldn't certify the election. Clearly, he was okay with what was happening.
Let me explain this. You're talking three different things. Did Trump have a real reason, in my opinion, to believe that the election was stolen?
No,
yes.
He did not.
I think he did. You disagree?
No, I don't just disagree. Every single court case
no court saw the case.
No, they did.
They didn't think it had precedent.
They reviewed over 30 of the cases on their merits, and he was allowed.
We disagree.
Of course, you want to move on.
We disagree. Donald Trump, there's no evidence that he caused an insurrection.
Yes, he did. He brought them to the Capitol on Jan 6 and told
how many? There was hundreds of thousands of people at his rally.
Yeah, and he told them,
and he told them, how many of them went to the Capitol building?
They went, 10,000 went to the Capitol, 2,000 went inside.
Why did the other, what did he tell the other 9,000 or 8,000 people?
So you're saying because a
I'm
percentage
telling you,
of the people
went to the Capitol and they start getting out of control. Just like they did to the Capitol in
why did they get out of control?
Oregon State. What you mean why they got out of control?
Why did the people at the Capitol get out of control?
Because they were rioting. They were rioting.
And they were rioting against the certification of the election that Trump told them to go protest because the election is stolen.
Protest. He didn't say go and be violent.
He didn't say go and be violent.
That's why most people didn't.
He told them to fight like hell, and Rudy Giuliani said it's a trial by combat. You don't think that that's escalatory language?
No, I don't.
Because he didn't say, oh, go in there and hold those people hostage or whatever.
So when
he didn't intend for any violence.
So when a Democrat says Donald Trump is Hitler, and somebody tries to shoot and kill him, is that Democrat responsible for that person trying to shoot and kill him?
I don't care that a Republican tried to shoot and kill Donald Trump.
What? He's a Republican. Clearly he wasn't a Republican. He hates Trump.
He absolutely was a Republican.
Well, he agrees with them then.
No, he does.
He does agree with them. He hates Trump just like the left does.
Liz Cheney, I don't know why he tried to shoot Donald Trump. Well, we don't know, but we know he's a Republican.
The other guy tried to kill him at Mar-a-Lago.
The other guy, he was also a Republican.
No, he wasn't a Republican.
Yeah, dude, this is all online. You can literally like fact check it.
Well, y'all just be making up anything. Okay.
Wait.
So I will say this. Just based off of what they're saying, this is a very, very complex situation because there are people online who do hold positions of power, who do call for violence, who do say things that are extremely vulgar towards the right, such as calling Donald Trump Nazi or Hitler, and they say things that are vulgar towards the left. But when it comes to something like this, a president of the United States saying you need to fight or you need to protest, I don't necessarily look at that as calling for violence. And the reason I say that is because if Donald Trump were to post the exact same things and no one protested and no one stormed the Capitol, I don't think anyone would say that he was calling for violence. I think people were saying that he was calling for violence because of how serious that people took his words that day. That could be the reason people say he's calling for violence. But just based off of what they're saying, I don't think his words were objectively calling for violence, is what I'm saying. I don't think they were objectively, undeniably saying, okay, this is a blatant, obvious call for an attack on the Capitol. And I think that's the most important thing here. It's just very subjective. It's very subjective. And it's something as serious as this, I think it shouldn't be up for interpretation. It should be either he called for violence or he didn't call for it. But when it's up in the air, like, it just depends on what side of the spectrum you are. If you support Trump, then obviously you're not going to think he's calling for violence. But if you don't support him, you're going to think he's calling for violence. So something that's serious, all the thing I'm saying is something that's this serious, it should be objective. It shouldn't be up for interpretation. It should be written in stone. It should be written in the dirt. But let's continue.
Wait, rhetoric that he's Hitler caused a person to hate him enough to kill him. Is that the Democrats' responsibility that a man tried to kill Trump?
Why did Donald Trump wait 3 hours? Why did Donald Trump wait 3 hours while the violence was happening and make phone calls to representatives telling them, hey,
peacefully and patriotically make your voice be heard? You saying when he say that and people decide to do their own thing, he's responsible for it.
Why did he wait 3 hours? Why did he not say immediately, hey, go home once things got violent? A lot going on. He was in the West Wing doing nothing but making phone calls.
How many police officers got hurt in the Capitol building?
How many police officers? I believe it was 5.
How many? In the Capitol building?
In the Capitol building?
0.
Okay.
Who made them leave the Capitol building?
Wait, there was an...
No, who made them leave the Capitol building?
Who made them leave the National Guard.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they got
the National Guard never went into the Capitol building. They walked out.
Dude, why did he wait? Why did he wait 3 hours while the rioting was happening?
Say woulda, coulda, shoulda. Why didn't he?
He was calling Republican officials while the violence was happening, telling them you should not certify the vote.
That has nothing to do with what these people did.
It has everything to do with it.
That has nothing to do with what these people did. So if you say that so you have to say that he told 2,000 people to go in the Capitol and he told 300,000 people not to. Are you fair with that? He
didn't tell them not to. He told everybody to go to the Capitol.
Why didn't 100,000 people go and storm the Capitol if he told them to do it?
Maybe they chickened out.
They chickened out. They took over the Capitol, didn't they?
Yeah, the 2,000 people that took over the Capitol did. Why did Trump wait 3 hours while they were rioting, telling Republican officials as the violence was happening?
Did he tell them directly to go and do that?
Did he wait?
If I say Donald Trump is the best president on planet Earth, go down to the campus square and let your voice be heard. And some people start beating up people and fighting cops. Does that mean that I'm responsible for that?
If you were the president of the United States and you waited 3 hours while the violence was happening.
Next question. We disagree on this. Next question.
We disagree on this because
I'm telling you, he didn't.
Because, okay, on the actual election being stolen, you think it was stolen?
I think that this is what I think happened. Mm-hmm. I think that there was cheating going on that was consequential in swing states. I think there was cheating going on around the country. They cheat every year. Everybody cheat every year. But I think this was uniquely consequential, and here's why. There has never in the history of this country that an incumbent president had got that many more votes and didn't win. There's no president in the United States history that won all but one bellwether county and didn't win the presidency. There's no president in history that won the swing states that Trump won and didn't win the presidency. There's never in history of our constitutional republic that they quit counting the votes in the middle of the night and resume counting the next day. These things have never happened in the history of this country.
Okay.
And when those anomalies happen, Donald Trump is incredibly more popular than he was last time. We have to look at nefarious things that have happened. 2,000 Mules was a really good documentary that exposed a lot of those things that had happened.
I don't care about the Facebook documentary. Okay,
Facebook documentary.
My question is,
that thing grossed $14 million.
Trump filed over 60 lawsuits.
Fine.
Wait, let me finish the question.
Fine.
60 lawsuits.
Fine.
Over 30 of them reviewed on merit. Many of them were reviewed by Trump-appointed judges. His own DOJ said that there was no fraud.
They were reviewed and not taken because it didn't have standing. They didn't review it. It didn't go through a process.
I just said that a bunch of those court cases had standing. They were reviewed on merit, and they were laughed
I disagree with you because I reported people who cheated in the election in Arizona.
On the ground. Giuliani reported on the ground too, and he got disbarred because he lied.
I saw what I saw. I believe that they cheated. Next.
Okay, that's my only question.
Okay, thank you.
I think this was a pretty good video. Officer Tatum has very strong beliefs about the election. He has very strong beliefs about what happened in 2020. I will say this regarding his debate: correlation is not causation. Just because Donald Trump happened to win a lot of swing states, and just because he happened to do things that have never been done before for a presidential loser, doesn't mean that he should automatically win the election. That's not the case. That's not even a realistic argument. I will say this though. During the 2020 election, it is a little strange how Joe Biden received so many votes. So many votes. I think that was the most votes ever recorded in recent history in an election. And the reason I think that's strange is because just what America was like during that time. During that time, people weren't leaving their houses. People weren't going outside. It was COVID. It was a pandemic worldwide. And during that election time, we didn't really even know how to react to it. We were still getting into the groove of things, and America was on a borderline recession. So during that time, voting was easier online, meaning people were allowed to vote much easier. America was in a really strange place. So there is a higher likelihood that voter fraud could have happened during 2020 versus any other time period in modern history. Because voting was online, voting was in mail. You didn't really have to confirm your identity that much. It was just a different place than it is today. Nonetheless, I'm not saying that the election was rigged. I've never researched whether or not the election was rigged. What do y'all think about it? Could have been, could have not been. At this point, we're 5 years in the future. Biden has already served his presidency. Trump, we're in an entirely new presidency right now. Nonetheless, let me know what you guys think about this video. My name is LFR Jojo, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.